I went to college in the States and I found it very differently. Your biggest worry about in the States is if I'm going to pass my class, or oh, I hope I have a lot of friends. Over here it's totally different. You have to worry, oh my God, would I be able to get to school? Is there going to be a checkpoint? Is there going to be a demonstration? Am I going to get shot at? Is there going to be tear gas? So it's completely different.
Here it's just you don't know if you're going to live or you're going to die, you know? You're going to school as if you're going to fight a war. You don't find a tank in the middle of the road on your way to college.
And just the other day, there were 2 tanks and an army jeep, and they're standing there checking your passport and your student visa and all this stuff. And it's just we want to get to school. We want an education. We're humans, and we have a right to our education.
In places like the United States, people cannot understand what's going on because simply the experience is beyond their frame of reference.
I can't study at night because my bedroom light is going to be open and it's across the street from their settlement. They shot at me. I was reading my biology book. I was studying for my midterm, and my mom and dad are like, no, get out of the room because they started shooting. I was like, no, Mom, I want to get an A in the class. Let me study. So I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden you hear something on my bedroom window. I was just like, okay, maybe I should go downstairs. I couldn't study for my test. It's I tell my American friends, I was like, do you understand what I'm going through?
The amazing thing is not that you have cases of suicidal students. The amazing thing is the bulk of them, they try to carry on in the middle of this mess as if life is normal, as if they want to celebrate their graduation and they want to build their life and they want to carry on. That's the other part of the coin. The root problem here is occupation. Everything else emanates from there.
The most severe problem is people who need medical care.
We've documented numerous cases where people have died. In fact, I believe that one of the last cases we documented was a woman who was in labor, who was not allowed to get to the hospital, and she and the baby both died.
If people like that, if people who are really sick and really need to go to hospitals cannot do that, so I think you can imagine what happened to regular people that just want to go to work, just want to go to do some shopping, or even just visit friends.
It's like living in a prison, a gigantic prison.
Haaretz, the intellectual newspaper in Israel, ran a whole, a 4-page magazine article on the refugee issue. It had a picture of Tel Aviv University now and what was there before Tel Aviv University, a Palestinian village. And those refugees are in Gaza.
غزة والله يا عمي غزة الثانية شافت الويل ويل عاد نكذب والله غزة احنا معانينا بس مش قد غزة مستحيل أكتر غزة أكتر.
I think that Gaza is a main problem. There are lots of violations that you will not see in the West Bank, you will see in Gaza. We find it hard to monitor the human rights situation in Gaza because the Israeli army do not let us in.
Palestinians in Gaza had been under Israeli military control for over 38 years, where 1.3 million Palestinians were crowded together to make room for 8,000 Israeli settlers. In August of 2005, Israel dismantled its settlements and military posts inside Gaza and relocated its settlers. The media, along with Israeli politicians, portrayed this as an unprecedented sacrifice. In reality, it was simply a matter of Israel finally complying with international law. Although Israel's presence inside Gaza is no longer visible, Israel will still retain ultimate control over Gaza's borders, coastal waters, and airspace, creating a virtual prison.
Refugee camps, even if there was no conflict with Israel, are just humanly horrible. They're so overcrowded. And you have 14 to 25 people living in a space. There's no place for children to be there. No streets, there are little alleys, no trees, nothing.
انت بتقدر تسكن هنا تتدرج لانه المواقف صعبه هنا، والواحد اذا وقف قاعد هنا على طول بتلمس، قبل ما يضرب الصاروخ ببقى متلمسين لانه كل ما يضرب الصاروخ بتشقق الحيط.
قذيفة من فوق دخلت على الشباك، بعدين كسرت كل الشبابيك والدار انحرقت. ليش هم كسروا غراب، كسروا لعبة، لسه في إلي كتير غراب ساحوا، كله رميناه على الزبالة والأواعي رميناها على الزبالة، بنشحت من دور الناس أواعي للباس، وحتى الأكل اللي بناكل فيه ريحته غاز ومش راضيين نصيب أواعينا، وهينا لابسين غاز. لو تشموهم أواعينا، خلي اليهود يجوا ويشموا أواعينا ويشوفوا دارنا. كل ما نيجي نتحمم في الدار، نيجي نعمل بنشوف الريحة كلها كتلاتنا كتل. هاي الأواعي شوف ها ما لمناهم مش غير شم غاز. ليش بدي أسوي؟ حتى نظارتي اللي أبويا جاب لي إياها ما فرحتش عليها، حتى الإسورة اللي أمي جابتها الحلب، الخواتم ما فرحتش عليهم. كيف بدي أفرح عليهم والعقد وهداك؟ كيف بدي أفرح على أغراضي أنا؟ نفرح على أغراضنا بإيش؟
يعني أطفالنا مش عارفة تعيش ولا إحنا عارفين نعيش، يعني عيشة ايش بدي اقول، كلها خوف ورعب، عايشين في الخوف والرعب.
انا بروح المدرسة كل يوم بسمع الطخ، انا بخاف من الطخ حتى بصير راجف لما انا اشوفه.
This is what has been fired on this neighborhood. This is a civilian neighborhood. There are no soldiers here. There are no military installations here. This is strictly harassment to get these people to move away from the border so that the Israeli tanks can move at will. They want these people cleansed from this area. It's that simple. And it's a way to get people to be humiliated and destitute again.
In Gaza, you can see also the extent of house demolitions, much more extensive than in the West Bank. Whole neighborhoods have been demolished. Hundreds of people do not have any houses anymore because they are next to settlements or next to the border, which is, of course, a clear violation of humanitarian law.
People have no chance to get their personal items out. They have no chance to call for help. And this is far away from most media outlets. You are amongst the very few journalists who have even seen this. European or American journalists who have even been here because people are afraid to come or it's too hard to come.
And one of the things we were told in Gaza by very respected Palestinian psychologist who had just completed a study of 1,000 Palestinian children was that they had discovered that many of these Palestinian children no longer had a will to live, that they were so dehumanized and so affected by seeing their fathers particularly beaten by Israeli defense forces. That the psychological condition is one of the dimensions of the conflict that is not widely understood.